Hello. Today I'm going to be sculpting a basic sort of gash for use with a flat mold to be cast in encapsulated silicone. The benefits of using a flat mold for something like this is that because it's completely flat, it can be used for general purpose things, can be applied in many places around the body without a need for a custom fit. And today, I'm just going to start off with something pretty basic. Get some clay down on the board. Yeah, just kind of block out the general shape you want. This clay is actually super hot right now, burning my fingers a little bit, but nothing I'm not used to. Yeah, something like that just for starters. What's important is that you get the general shape down first before you go in and start adding more forms. And I'm thinking it's going to be kind of a sort of a jagged gash, so let me all my tools. I was thinking a sort of almost jagged V shape here. You know, kind of like you got struck with something really hard and the cut wasn't very even. So what I want to do is go in and get that nice cut shape going first. You can dig in almost to the board in the center of the cut. I'm going to leave the edges of the piece around here rough for now. Just because it's not super important at this stage, but later, when it comes closer to time to molding, I'm going to feather down the edges, and that'll allow for a more seamless application and illusion. Just gonna start blending down the edges here a little bit, just so I can kind of get a real good look at what my finished piece is going to look closer to. In fact, I may just cut off a lot of this, simply because I don't need all of it. I mean, the less excess clay area you have around it, the better for the most part. You want to have some outside of your actual wound just so you can have a little blending edge, but the less clay you have, the less silicone you're going to use, and likely the less there is for your viewer to see once it's applied to the model. Just go back in, smooth down those edges a little bit. You really don't want this to be too thick, otherwise once it is on the model they'll be able to see a definite bulge differentiating from where their skin ends and the prosthetic begins, which is really going to detract from the illusion. So overall you don't want it to be too high, especially areas around here. Like I probably added too much clay, so I really got to bring that down. Scrape some of this off. The clay I'm using is J. Urbin, I think is how you say it. Urbin. It's been a while since French class, but it's a non-sulfurated plastiline, but it's also not NSP. Well, that's not true. It is NSP, but it's not by Chavant. Let me just just go in and rebuild up some of those details. Take off some of this extra clay. And really it's just getting about, it's about getting the general shape right now. Oopsie. Alrighty. I'm gonna go back in and neaten up this little gash. I want the edges to be relatively smooth. A lot of artists, when they're first starting out, they think every wound needs to be horrifically gory and jagged, but that's not always the case. Realistically, a lot of times, even if you get hit with something really hard, the wound will be relatively smooth, but the cut won't be straight. It's just going to be almost a check mark shape. Alrighty. I know this clay isn't the best for showing detail, but you see I've got this here. And maybe I even want to go in and almost raise this edge. And I might even take like a small rake tool to it just for now. Kind of get things smoothed out. Now, some people might be screaming at me internally for using a tool with a different colored oil-based clay caked onto it, because it is discoloring my sculpture a little bit right now, but in the end it won't matter. This is what my final sculpture looks like. I just went in and blended down the edges with some isopropyl alcohol. As you can see, it's very basic, not a lot of texture, but it should be good for a lot of different applications. And I'll be showing you how to mold it up next week.